Once you figured out a market and you know the size, you figured out your total addressable market, and you sort of started sort of maxing it out, so to speak, or you sort of growing well. Then that's the time you can address it, like for example, power sports or marine. Then you can start addressing those markets.
Hmm.
Right. So in that sense, and the niche number two, the niche number three, you can start addressing those, and you can still build a reasonably large company.
Hey there. Welcome to the Speak and Flow podcast. I am so glad you're here. This show is for leaders who care. Leaders who know that when things get messy, the way we communicate makes all the difference. Every week, I sit down with incredible guests, founders, VPs, rising stars, to unpack real moments of today where communication matters. We talk about what works, what doesn't, and how you can lead conversations that create trust, movement, and momentum. Because in uncertain times like today, your words have weight. Let's use them well. Let's dive in. Welcome to the Speak and Flow podcast, where we help CEOs and leaders to speak with more confidence, clarity, and purpose so that they can move and grow the business together. I believe that communication is not just a soft skill, it's how you move people and how your company grows. Today's topic is all around the questions every CEO needs to ask themselves before they scale. There is a lot of times we are so busy and not stopping to really consider the important things that we need to ask before things start to break. And so joining me is an amazing leader. He has a wealth of knowledge. His name is Kishore Rajgopal. CEO and founder of Rapidious. He turns data and into smarter decisions. So we have so much data out there and things get quite complex, but taking all that into smarter decisions through AI pricing, market intelligence, he is targeting the RV market. His perspective to me is especially unique because alongside with the technology and strategy that he brings, he also teaches yoga and meditation. And so he brings all of this and turns it into business growth and human potential. Welcome, Kishore.
Thank you so much for having me, Melinda.
I am so
Absolutely
glad.
delighted to be here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm excited to have you. This is going to be such a fun conversation. Again, I think there are CEOs and leaders out there are so busy and they just don't have the time to really sit back and think about the questions that they need to ask as they're scaling and growing the company. And so the first question I'll ask is there is someone out there that is busy and they actually stopped to listen to this podcast. What do you hope could change in this person's life if they truly take everything into account what you're about to tell them?
Thank you, Melinda. And what we've seen, I founded 5 companies before this. And when you grow, there are things that work at a certain level. And as you keep growing, the same things that work at a certain level, they don't work anymore at the next level.
Hmm.
All right. So you have to constantly recalibrate your strategies because otherwise it just doesn't work. So you're growing, and then you gotta step back. You gotta sort of you got to step back. You got to go in back into your creative space, and you got to figure out why is this thing not working anymore.
Yeah.
If you don't do that, you simply exhaust yourself, spend more resources, more money, more budgets, and it's just not working the same level of effectiveness. And you're
Hmm.
not really attentively figuring out why. But if
Yeah.
you step back and saying this strategy is no longer working effectively, lead gen was working at that time is no longer effectively as much. Maybe Google Ads was working and is not working as effectively. Maybe another strategy works out more effectively. So you got to figure out all the strategies and which is more effective for you at this point of time. That's what is important for you. So you got to
Right.
step back and figure out what's changed and how you need to change your strategy.
Yes, yeah, I love that. And this is what this episode is all about. So I really appreciative that you're mentioning that. So if you haven't taken anything else, take the moment to step back, is what Kishore says, right? Before you keep on using and wasting resources. And so for the audience, can you share more about what you do and what you're excited about today?
Absolutely. So I spent almost 10 years in the corporate world, worked advising retailers and brands, with strategies like, space optimization, pricing optimization, JCPenney, Publix, Nordstrom. I lived in Dallas, Texas, spent almost 10 years. And then, of course, my calling to be in the startup world and build technologies that serve retailers, brands, and other companies. The last almost 12 years, I've created 5 startups with varying levels of successes and failures. There were 2 sort of successful companies and 3 glorious failures. You learn more from failures, honestly.
Yes, yes.
Um, now, this company is really servicing the RV sector, the recreational services sector in the US, wherein we help them price their units in a more effective way, price, stock, their effective and order the units in a more effective way. That's been my background, and honestly, it's been a delightful journey. If I can go back and look at what's been the most effective, what's been my learning is, as a startup founder, is I started broad and
Mm,
it didn't work. Hmm?
okay.
But when you narrow your market, when you target a niche market, it actually starts working out more effectively.
Hmm.
And then once you have a niche under control, then you get to the next niche, the adjacent niche, the next adjacent niche. Then
Hmm.
you're able to build a, a bigger company. If you
Hmm.
listen to VCs, and VCs talk of large TAMs, total addressable markets,
Hmm.
you actually get misled because of that. So
Hmm.
you got to sort of start small, narrow, and be really deep and in depth in that market. And then from that success, build forward from there.
Hmm. Hmm. Was that one of the things that you learned in the beginning that was tough for you?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, yeah.
It is easier said than done, though, to be narrow and niched.
I I actually don't think so because
Really?
as a startup, let's talk of price optimization
Okay.
or demand optimization. We said retail, and retail is very broad. There's convenience, there's fashion, there's groceries. There's so many aspects of retail, and you can't do all of them with the same level of depth. You got to choose one of them and do it. And if you can't make the choice, you actually fail. But what happens as a startup founder is you think let's try all of them,
Yeah.
and one of them sticks. And that's actually counterintuitive. It
Hmm.
actually doesn't work that way.
Hmm.
You bet on one of them and succeed in that, and then you can choose another. And this lesson takes a while for us to understand as a startup
Right.
founder.
Right, right, right. No, it's true because you want to be able to serve so many people. So what you're saying is just really niche down, pick one thing and stick with it for a while.
Your go-to-market improves, the
Yeah,
ontologies improve, your
yeah,
solutioning improves, the kind of depth you build in the industry knowledge, the
right.
industry, data models, all of that improves once you niche to a hyper, uh, you know, uh, clearer
Narrow,
area.
clear, clear, clear. I like it. It's
Yeah,
clear. That's what
yeah,
it is. It's not
yeah.
just niching just to make you feel like you're not doing well at a lot of other things. It's just being clear right now. Um, and then so. I mean, that's what we want to teach people. That's what we want to teach our teams too. Like when you're talking about what it is that you do well, because in order to do something really well, you got to be very clear and communicate that to your market, to your teams, and be intentional with it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. And so
Because
when
your
you're,
language also improves, your KPIs improve, your communication improves. You see, a lot of things improve once you are clear and your niching is clear. Hmm?
yeah, yeah. And so earlier you talked about what once worked. So let's say we're clear, you're starting to make money, and then you hit the ceiling because you said what once worked before doesn't always work to the next level. How do I know if I'm at that going to the next level?
Yeah. So once you figured out a market and you know the size, you figured out your total addressable market, and you sort of started sort of maxing it out, so to speak, or you sort of growing well, then that's the time you can address in like, for example, power sports or marine. Then you can start addressing those markets.
Hmm.
Right. So in that sense, and the niche number two, the niche number three, you can start addressing those, and you can still build a reasonably large company. Hmm?
Hmm. And then how do we start to build a repeatable company where things are repeated? Because now, you're if you're going to a different niche or a slightly different adjacent niche, you want to have the original systems in place.
Yes. Yeah.
How do you have you done that before? Like how do you
Yeah.
recommend?
Repeatability is so important
Yeah.
in any business for that matter, as important in a startup. So you find there are so many roles, right? So if you look at, for example, lead generation, if you look at for outbound, then you look at demo and closure. Then you look at, for example, any paperwork, any legal. Then you look at obviously, all of the, for example, if there's any onboarding, for example,
Hmm.
and then if there's any support, then all of that, right?
Hmm.
Then if there's any bug fixes if there's any support on an ongoing basis. So you got to make sure every one of them is sort of taken care so that it's scalable. Hmm.
Hmm.
Every one of these functions have to have scale built in, because if you don't, then you suddenly find that you're sort of breaking there.
Hmm.
That's a portion that starts breaking.
Hmm. Hmm.
So you got to map each one of these functions and make sure that you got scale built in, that each one of them is sort of built in for scale.
Hmm. Hmm.
Then,
Hmm.
of course, we are not even talking of the engineering side. The engineering side obviously has to be highly scalable. Engineering support, the
Right,
data side, has to be highly scalable,
right,
highly competent, obviously, right?
right, right, right. And how much do you think that needs to get defined by the leader? Do you feel like documentation helps or
That's
what?
a very good question,
Yeah.
Melinda. You see, to me, um, they don't do a lot of documentation.
Mhm.
I'm just very clear on my communication. I just want,
Ah, you're speaking my language.
yeah, I sit down and say, this is your ownership.
Yeah,
This is what you do.
yeah,
And clarify that this is what your area is.
yeah,
This is your response. Don't give them work,
yeah,
give them ownership.
yeah. How do you do that though? So you say this is what you do, this is your area of expertise, you empower them.
Yeah. Let me give you an example, Melinda.
Okay.
Now, we hired a lady who does content writing.
Uh-huh.
And she came back and said, I want a title for brand story, right? Brand storyteller. I said, that's absolutely no problem, because you tell the story, that you're the voice of the brand. And that's the way it should be. You're not a content writer.
Mm-hmm.
You're the voice of the brand. That's the way it should be.
Hmm.
And then the inevitable, like, what are my hours? I said, I don't care. I don't care. Work whenever you want.
Right, right.
Right? There's a stand up in the morning, but that's an engineering stand up. You don't need to attend that.
Yeah.
There's a stand up in the evening. That's a we everybody attends that. So you may want to attend that. Um, you know, we publish blogs maybe once or twice in a week. Um, get in the groove, and you can work whatever times you want. I mean, I work at a time convenient to me. I work in the mornings and rest a little bit in the afternoons. Then I work in the evenings to the night because that's when our clients wake up. And I'm in India, so I have my own schedule, and I have my evening schedule with Justin, my co-founder. I have my own schedule. You have your own schedule. So I made it clear, look, you're not here for the hours.
Hmm.
You're here for the ownership. And there's the same message for everybody. Don't give me this hours thing. And everybody's remote. I don't monitor them. I don't monitor keystrokes. I don't
Right,
monitor hours. Nobody
right.
fills in hours.
Yeah,
We don't measure hours at all.
right.
And don't tell me you're taking off. Please take off. You don't need to tell me all that. Right?
Right.
So
And I know there's statistics that says that when the employees and the leaders feel like they own it, they're more engaged, they're more
yeah,
excited. They actually probably work more behind when you don't even know.
exactly.
Because when they know the direction and the ownership that they have to take the company in in that space, then they're gonna own it. But then
So
it
you
does,
you own it, yeah.
yeah, right,
And
right,
and
right.
and I'm telling you, this lady, she's been here for 2, 3 months. She is top notch, absolutely,
Oh, that's
absolutely.
great. That's
So, and
great.
this is the same with my team members. I don't give them tasks. I give them ownership, and it's you know. Uh, of course, there are once in a while there are underperformance, and we coach them, and all that stuff is fine. But by and large, this has worked out very, very well.
Did you find it difficult to, as you were scaling, to let go and trust your team?
I would say no.
Oh, good.
I would say no, no.
You know how to commute. What is the secret?
So we have Slack channels.
Uh-huh.
So we have Slack channels, and we have an engineering head who sort of now, of course, now we're not that large yet. I mean, I do agree. I mean,
Mhm.
so we do, and so we have an engineering head, and then we do have the engineering team, and each of them works in certain. So there's the engineering team, the UX team, the backend team, the front end team, and then the data team. Each of them have the area of responsibility, and they do give updates in Slack on what's going on. And then we have the product management team, and they have their tasks set out, and they do give their updates. They have the support team. Yeah. So using a combination of methods, we sort of know what's going on.
Mhm.
Um, that's where we are, and it's sort of worked till now. Now, I think what you may ask is, let's say you become 3 times the size, will it still work? I don't know. It's not clear to me. Maybe
Mhm.
we'll get a little bit more formal at that time. Maybe we'll introduce a little bit more, one more layer of communication, but
Mhm.
it's worked till now. But to
Yeah.
me, I would always say ownership and not tasks.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
maybe we would just introduce one more layer of sort of leadership. The philosophy won't change. It's always ownership.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, 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 yeah. That makes sense. That
Yeah,
makes
yeah,
sense. The communication across the board from, yeah,
yes.
from to,
Ownership,
uh-huh.
goals,
Yeah,
and that's the way it would be. Never like you do this. You start
yeah,
working at 9, and you can be done by 6.
yeah.
The whole thing goes apart.
Right. How do you convey the vision and the mission to your clients and also to your team?
You have the stand-up. Stand-ups are useful. Stand-ups are short. So short meaning 20 minutes.
Hmm.
So we have 2 stand-ups a day. The morning is heavily engineering and very specific. The evening is a little bit more broad. And once in a while, you got to sort of look, this is where we're going. This is what is happening.
Hmm.
Um, and at least once a quarter, you got to sort of lay out sort of this is where we're going kind of a thing. So you got to I as a leader have to lay out the mission. It's my responsibility to describe it to people so people understand this is where we're going. You know,
Yeah.
if there are any happenings, if there are any challenges, if there are any goals, I sort of have to describe it to them, and and everybody listens to it. What I mean is, it's not like it's only sales, it's only marketing, it's only support. No, everybody listens into all of these messages, so they align, so the
Mhm.
energies are aligned.
Yes, yes. And why do you think that that's important?
Oh, it's important because if there is a product message
Yeah,
or if there's a next version being released,
right.
or for example, we're saying, look, the product needs integration into the website provider
Hmm.
or into the DMS. That's a very important step.
Hmm.
Everyone needs to understand that,
Hmm.
that philosophically,
Right.
whatever actions we are recommending needs to go back into the systems of record.
Hmm.
That's a very important shift. So everybody needs to understand that.
Hmm.
Otherwise, it'll become a like a general, like a general, a nice, good to have system with the actions not flowing back into your
Hmm.
systems. We
Hmm.
don't want that, right? We want to move into these actions go back into your systems. So
Hmm.
people understand this philosophical shift, so they all sort of move in that direction.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, no, I agree. I agree. So what do you think is the most challenging part of scaling a company then? What are the questions that a CEO needs to ask themselves?
I think what we just said, the most challenging part is to make sure you communicate, you align, make
Mm-hmm.
sure people are, look, uh, uh, it's not about people filling up their days. It's making sure that they're aligned and the work they're doing is aligned with that vision, and they're working in 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 the same energy. That's the most important thing,
Yeah, yeah.
right?
Yes, yes. I truly believe that. Have you been with a company that has not had that same energy and every people are working on different things, different priorities. People
Many
are,
times,
uh-huh,
many times,
uh-huh.
many
And
times it's happened. Often it happens because people are not connected.
mm-hmm,
They are not, they just don't see eye to eye. They have different agendas
mm,
or priorities, or the different, whatever, this set of client, that set of clients, or this product, that product. Um, Things like that.
mm-hmm,
Or in a larger company, that's legacy and this is new,
mm-hmm,
those kind of things happen. And again, you know, if it's under your control, you have to align them.
mm-hmm,
I mean, if it's under my control, there are two, three groups, I have to align them.
mm-hmm,
And say this, look, we gotta move in the same direction.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, at least have some conversation. If you're not in the same direction, have the conversation, talk honestly, problem solve, and even if you don't agree, at least agree to be in alignment, right? At least agree to all communicate in the same way is what I found. Even sometimes initially if you don't agree, but at least, right? So that everybody's on the same page when we went out and go out to message to the client. Because otherwise you'll have disparate messages.
Yeah, Melinda, but then again, sometimes some of the, once a company gets very large, which
Yeah,
which has
it's
happened
hard.
to me, right?
Yeah,
Once it goes to 2 billion, 3 billion, 4 billion, 5 billion,
yeah,
and at that time, such large divisions happen, and people
yeah,
start having different agendas or acquisitions and all that,
yeah,
and they're having different agendas, and the conversations don't align.
yeah,
And at least I found it very hard. I
yeah,
can't pretend that
yeah,
everything is okay. You find it very hard.
yeah,
So I don't see easy solutions there. You got to figure it out. You got to take it to the boss. You got to get it aligned and so on.
yeah,
Smaller companies, yes, you're able to talk and resolve it. At least have an
yeah.
open conversation, resolve it. Look, we are one
Right,
company. Let's sit across the table, discuss it, and align the energies.
right, right, right. But larger companies, yeah, it's challenging, especially when they have different people, behaviors, personalities. They're just going separate ways.
Yes. So I don't have any magic prescriptions yet,
Yeah,
right? Because
yeah,
I could not resolve those situations when I was in that position.
yeah,
Yeah, the best way is to get in front, the best way is make a difference, right? The way I could do it in a large company is I made a difference to their business unit, to their situation. I brought them business, I closed them deals, and they say, wow. And then they warmed up and they spoke to me,
yeah. And how do you
right?
and your co-founder do that? I mean, it's I think that's up if there if I were a founder and I saw people working on different things and silos, I would get together with my co-founder or as a founder, start to set the direction again, start to align again.
Yeah, in companies like us, there's no
Yeah,
issue. We just have to
right.
sit across and communicate. We have to align. We have to talk through, and we give liberty to people. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
are you doing some experiments? That's no problem. How
Mm-hmm.
long the experiment take? Okay, it takes a month. That's no problem. We love experiments, but then
Mm-hmm.
once you're done, we bring the experiment back. Let's see. Okay, where else will you?
Yeah.
What else will you work on? You know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
I think alignment, discussion, communication.
I like the idea of being a small, agile company nowadays, especially with so much going on.
And with AI,
Yeah.
the amount you can get done with a
Yeah.
smaller team is so immense. You don't need a
Yeah.
large team.
Yeah.
You don't
Yeah.
need a large team. There's a lot of work you can get done with a small
Right.
team,
Right.
right?
Right. Right. And so how do you use AI with them to help people with pricing and market intelligence? Is
So AI is the core of what we build. The fact that we watch a lot of the market,
hmm
we index many data sources. We also have data partners. We bring the data in, we crunch that in. We do a lot of modeling. We do a lot of machine learning, a lot of AI. We see the trends, and then we're able to give a lot of price recommendations. We have a
hmm
pricing engine that we
Yeah.
provide to our dealers. Our dealers use the pricing engine and saying for this unit, year, make, model, and based on their sort of preferences, hey, we want to be the lowest in the market. That's after all a philosophy. We let them have their philosophies. We don't
hmm
take that away, right?
Right.
We want to be the lowest in the market. Or somebody else says, no, no, not really. We want to be somewhere in the middle of the line. I mean, we want to be a profitable
Mm.
dealer. So they can give their sort of philosophical,
Right.
directions, and according to that, and according to the data we see in the market, we offer them some pricing sort of directions, and then they
Wow.
can choose that and they can move. So that's our pricing engine that we have that gives them those recommendations.
Fabulous. Fabulous. So helpful. Can you do that for my company too? You probably can use that same model and apply it to every single type of industry. Yeah, that's great. That's great. Well, I'm going to ask you one last question. 'Cause
Hmm.
we learned so much. We talked about a lot. And one thing that really stood out is, again, like taking the time to really think about where's the direction of the company? How do we instill ownership with all the teams and keep aligned energy versus disparate changing? So when companies really think about communication as a way to align the energies, align the teams, not just a soft skill. Now they're thinking about how do I use it with intention and purpose. What do you think that does, and how does that impact companies today?
Oh, I would say conscious communication,
hmm
being able to be cognizant of where you're coming from, how it will be received, and doing that on a regular basis to align people, align energies is a very important part of what you do.
Yeah.
It's a very important part. And if your energies are not aligned, especially at the top, especially with you and your colleagues, like me and my co-founder and my like VP of engineering, we have to be aligned. If you're not aligned, you'll spend a lot of time, you'll waste a lot of time and energy,
hmm hmm
right? So it's
hmm
very important, conscious communication, open communication, and making sure you speak things through, you articulate them, and be aligned. And once you're aligned, the journey is much more clearer. And
Yeah.
then to the rest of the team, also conscious communication is important. So you have open and you articulate your goals clearly and you move forward.
Yeah.
And as I mentioned, we don't discuss work. We don't discuss content of work. It's ownership, priorities, and that's what is discussed.
Yeah. Yeah. And how does that impact the legacy? So when you're not in the room, I love what you said because you're communicating what matters and they take ownership. And so imagine, and what does that do for your legacy? Let's say Kishore is not available or not around. How does that impact your legacy and Rapidious's legacy?
Yeah, hopefully things will continue to work even if I'm not around. If I'm gone for a week or two, it'll continue to work.
Yeah.
We have we have systems and processes, and things will continue to work. And so I mean they're not dependent on me being there all
Mhm.
the time or the head of engineering or my co-founder being there. Things will continue to work because we have Slack, we have task assignments, we have things going on. So things will sort of continue to work,
Right,
at
right.
least for a while, so to speak.
Right, right.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
imagine if a leader really takes that into consideration, the company, the legacy that they're trying to bring and communicate that so that people continue the work when the leader's not there.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
that is the goal. That is where we're headed. That's the direction.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, thank you so much, Kishore. And if there's a company out there, small business, startup, or they're looking for some support from you and Rapidious, how can this leader get a hold of you?
Absolutely would love to support Kishore at Rapidious.com. Otherwise, my phone number, 650 613 8522, Bay Area, area code.
Thank you so much, Kishore. It was
You're so
really
welcome.
fun. I had a really great time with you. Thanks for your time. And thank you for being here on the Speak and Flow podcast. Remember, communicate what matters, communicate it consistently so you and your team move together. Take care. Until next time. Bye bye. Thanks for tuning in today. If this conversation sparked something for you, if you're thinking, we talk a lot in our organization and things still fall through the cracks, we're not getting the results that we want, I've got something for you that might help. It's called the Accountability Self-Assessment, and it takes less than 60 seconds. In one quick review, you'll get real insights as to why accountability and results are slipping on your team. And you'll walk away with a legacy accountability card. It's a simple one-pager framework to help you and your team move talk to traction. Because the legacy of you and your team is built more than just meetings. It's built on clarity, consistency, and follow through. So grab it today. Go to speakandflow.com or click on the link in the show notes. It's free, fast, and built for busy leaders like you. See you next time. Until then, keep communicating with impact and momentum.